One goal was all Ebbsfleet needed here at Halifax. Tom Adloy just on as a sub, persistent and picking out Goziogu at the near post. Good finish, and that's a great 3 points for the Fleet. Kevin Watson knows the value of all three of those, 4 wins in 6, and they are suddenly giving themselves a real chance of escaping at the bottom of the Vanarama National League. Kev alongside myself and Grant. Also worth updating you where we're at with obviously the difficulties in trying to make games safe to go ahead at the moment. The National League have released a statement just on full time here at Halifax from the Chief Executive, Michael Tattersall, saying that our thoughts are with the players and staff of our clubs who are self-isolating or otherwise affected by the coronavirus. The National League is keeping the continuation of the season under constant review and will provide a further update in due course. I understand the Vanarama National League board is due to meet again on Monday lunchtime to discuss where they're at with games due at the moment to go ahead on Tuesday evening. We shall see. Let's worry about that when we need to, Kev. I think more important, you've come because you had to, but you've won, and that's very important.
It's hugely important. We've been in a good vein of form. It's come at the right time. As you say, we've picked up a few wins, and we've only lost a couple in the last 8 or 9 at the right time. So we don't want the season to end now, funny enough. Whether it does or it doesn't are down to the powers that be. But I thought today our lads were absolutely excellent. We've not been able to train since Tuesday. Issues with the training ground. We tried to find somewhere yesterday on the way up, but 2 academies that I spoke to and clubs had shut their academies down, so we couldn't train anywhere. So that's probably why it looked like we were out on our feet the last 10, 12 minutes, and we was. But what an effort. The shape was good, and although Halifax had a lot of the ball, we limited them to very few chances.
In fairness, Holty, we both thought that Kevin's side looked more like a promotion-chasing team than Pete Wild's Halifax.
Yeah, that was it. We just thought the game plan was superb. I said about half-time, most of the time you'd limit them till chances 20 yards out, getting shots off, and you were solid. I said once the first goal went in, I thought it was just. And then they had a little spell, but it didn't really hurt you. I thought your game plan was. The 2 lads up front were brilliant. They worked hard, got in behind it. We've seen a little clip at half-time about you saying open on, getting you fit, and they've done it perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's come on. He's done brilliant for me as a sub this year, and he does. I'm sure he doesn't like me too much because he's normally always been a sub. But as an impact player, I mean, that's not a foul, as you can see. He's done brilliant. It's a great cross. Picks out Gozin. That's a hell of a finish. I feel sorry for Josh. He started brightly, hit the post. In fact, it was a good save, but he's just rolled his ankle. But Tommy and Gozzi worked their absolute socks off, as did all of them. And as I say, our shape was excellent. We've worked on 3-5-2. We've tried everything, trying to get results, but I think 3-5-2 suits our players, and it still gets you 2 at the top of the pitch and 3 in the middle of the park.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it feels a bit providential, doesn't it, that obviously an unfortunate injury to Josh ends up bringing Tom on, who chases what looks like a lost cause and ends up being the goal that wins the game. Sometimes the fates are just kind in a strange way. Yeah,
I mean, he's done great, and we thought the second half when he robbed the left centre half of the ball, we didn't think that was a foul. But all those boys are out on their feet in there. He's injured. I've had to have 2 goalkeepers on the bench today.
Yeah, I noticed that at the start of the game. Yeah.
I'm literally down to the last 16 players. We've had a couple of boys unwell who couldn't travel. We've got 1 suspended, 2 injured. And young Matty Tuba's not played a game at this level, I don't think. He's only 19 years old. So we literally are down to the bare bones. But these boys, since we've been here, give us absolutely everything. And I think they're getting their rewards now. We've worked incredibly hard to get them fit. And hopefully we're going the right direction.
And of course the goal allows you to sit and play on the break, which you did quite effectively in the second half. As you mentioned, the front 2, Nolte mentioned the front 2 stretched. Halifax looked quite dangerous. In fact, looked more dangerous than they did, really.
Yeah, I mean, that was the game plan. We knew that Halifax were going to have some of the ball. We knew it was a massive pitch. We couldn't go chasing them all over the park because if you get picked off on a pitch this big, you're going to be in trouble. So we kept our shape. And I've just said to him in there, I'm going to nitpick, even though we've won 1-0. I thought we could even be better with the ball when we were breaking. A couple of loose passes.
I totally agree. I think there was a couple of times where you worked it really well, got out and you could have slid them through. But when you've got that threat, when you've got them lads up front and going behind and spin all the time, and I just thought you got the game plan perfect today. I thought counter-attacking you looked fantastic, and that's why me and Matt said you wouldn't know which one was where in the league.
Yeah, no, indeed. Well, we've mentioned 4 wins in 6. Who knows what Monday and beyond will bring. At the moment, obviously, games are scheduled. You're giving yourselves a chance. That's all you can do as the football man, is get your team as ready as you can for games if and when they come and if you can, get out of that bottom four.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said all along, we just needed to be consistent. We were quite a way behind. I think it was 7, perhaps 8 points at one stage, and now we might only be a couple after today's results. So Stockport done us a favour and beat Maidenhead, which we're grateful for, but that was before this game.
Yeah.
So we still had to go and do a job, and to win 2 very tough away games to nil, if you like, is very pleasing. We went through a stage in the season where we were conceding 2 goals a game, but scoring 2 or 3. But I'd rather win like that.
Yeah. Well done. Safe journey home, and look after your boys, and we will see you when we see you. I suppose that's the best we can say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sounds like you need a rest anyway.
Yeah,
well,
we do. Yeah.
For the winner, of course, there's a loser. Pete Wild, the Halifax bosses with Natalie.
Pete, having worked tirelessly all week after the Woking result, how disappointing, how frustrating was tonight's result?
I think both of them words are appropriate, disappointing and frustrating. At 80% of the football, but we haven't really been clinical enough in the final third. We've made one mistake all game and it's cost us. But we're only as good as you hold up play. We didn't hold the ball up well, we didn't move the ball quick enough in the final third. And ultimately that's what's cost us today.
We saw the team pushing for an equaliser, certainly in the first half, but that's 2 games now without scoring. How much of a concern is that?
Well, it's a massive concern because we work all week. We're trying to put it right. It's not as though we're ignoring it. We're trying to put things right. But it's just not going our way at the moment, and we're just not moving the ball quick enough. And unfortunately, at times in football, that happens to you, and you've just got to keep going. We've got to keep our heads down and keep working hard. We know teams will come to the Shea and try and frustrate us and get behind the ball and make it tough for us, and we've got to find ways to break that down.
You still are in a good position and an enviable position to others. You've got an important week on the road now with Bournemouth and Hartlepool. How significant is this week, do you feel, in terms of your playoff hopes?
Yeah, make bones about it. We've had an excellent season and we're in an excellent position. It's not gone our way in the last couple of games, but we've got to get on the road now. And one thing for sure, we've got 2 teams who'll come out and play us. So it now is a little bit better for us in an appetising week for us. So hopefully we can go and pick some points up on the road.
And as it stands, is it just business as usual until you're told otherwise? Should that happen?
100%, yeah, we keep going. We'll be in Monday and prepared for Tuesday. And like I say, big week ahead.
Thanks for talking to us, Pete.
Thank you.
Honest assessment, I think, from Pete Wild, who was involved heavily in youth football at Oldham before he got the manager's job here. You can see he likes his teams to play, but they were unable to impose themselves, really.
Yeah, I think he's totally right. They didn't move it quick enough. They were side to side. Times he brought on a big man. They wouldn't put in the box. They were moving it. It was only to the last 10 minutes at the final he started sticking the balls in the box, and then they just lacked a bit of punch. I've talked about centre forward. His runs didn't go in the right areas. If you watch it here in the second one, it's carbon copy. He drives inside a good outside the left, probably the best chance. Great header, but that was a little bit it. They kind of stopped them. They were outside the box shots, these little scraps. If you get anything, let's get it right. Ebbsfleet worked hard and they've done everything they needed to at the back. But I think you will be disappointed. They just didn't generate enough pressure and enough real chances to really hurt them.
No, there was that sense with Redshaw in the first half that something might break for them, but they kind of ran out of ideas a bit in the second half.
Yeah, and even that one there, that kind of summed it up a little bit. They got into a good area, worked it really well, and then he smashed it over. But they didn't do enough of this. They didn't just get it wide, put it in the box, get it again, and it didn't really work.
No. Disappointing run of results thus far in the last few weeks for Pete Wild and Halifax. There were, as we've said, 5 games that kicked off at 3 o'clock today with a number of postponements, but 5 games did go ahead, and here's what happened.
A 5th match in a fortnight for Notts County, who've made the most of a packed fixture list with 4 wins in a row in League and Cup. They were on course for number 5 when Kyle Wootton headed in Christian Dennis's cross after quarter of an hour. 10 minutes after the break and the Magpies were 2 up. Former Newcastle United youth player Callum Roberts crossing well for Dennis to head in a 3rd goal this week for the county number 9. The home side had found their rhythm now and carved their way through the easterly defence again moments later. Roberts passed perfect for Mitch Rose to set up Wootton, who simply stroked in for 3-0. Having played a part in the last 2, Roberts then added his name to the score sheet. A classy finish from distance and a great end to the week for the 22-year-old, who's now scored in his last 3 matches. Neil Ardley's men secure a 4th straight win in the National League. Hartlepool's top scorer Jimmy Toure was dropped to the bench against his old side and would have only just taken his seat when his former employers took the lead 3 minutes in. Isaac Olafay's persistence rewarded as he charged down Ben Killip's clearance. Dave Challoner's half-time team talk clearly fired up the trailing visitors. Just 7 minutes after the break, Gavin Holohan somehow managed to shape his body to fashion a shot, ending an 8-match goal drought for the Irishman. Sutton's home form has been impressive, unbeaten in the last 7 at Gander Green Lane, and they pushed on to retake the lead. Judging by the crowd reaction, most fans thought Harry Beautyman would do just that. That was unfortunate. What followed was plain unlucky. David Ajiboye creating an opportunity deep into added-on time. Gary Liddell somehow headed away what would have been a winning goal. Alan Devonshire brought in 2 new strikers to freshen things up at struggling Maidenhead, and MK Dons loanee Dylan Asaganyu went straight into the starting 11 to face Stockport. His mazy run and delightful chip set up Odie Alpha to score his 2nd of the season for the Magpies. Stockport's Ash Palmer had gone 20 National League appearances without a goal before last Saturday. He's now scored 3 in his last 3 after his header crept across goal to level things up. Maidenhead felt they should have been given a penalty when Remy Clarima's goal-bound header was turned away by Sam Minahan. Referee Matthew Russell wasn't interested, and it was a decision that proved to be pivotal. Goal difference was keeping Stockport out of the playoff places before this weekend. Jim Gannon's side hadn't scored more than once in a match in 2020. Step forward Liam McAlinden. He ended that run, and a goal worthy of winning any game. Chesterfield looked to continue their remarkable run of form at Dover, and after a poor first half, homekeeper Lee Worgan was at his best to get down well to save Tom Denton's header. But as the home team failed to properly clear their lines, the Spireites continued to attack and won a penalty when Shadrach Ogie leant into a cross. That gave Denton a second chance in as many minutes to open the scoring. This time Worgan couldn't keep out the striker's effort from 12 yards. The visitors needed to hold on to that lead for just 10 minutes to secure a 4th win in 5, but a late equaliser from Dover's Nassim El Ghoul saw 3 points become 1. Fylde ended a run of 13 matches without a win thanks to a midweek victory at Dagenham. They looked to try and continue their push to avoid relegation with a visit at Aldershot and won a penalty when Mark Yates was brought down by Jacob Berkeley-Agyapong. Mitchell Walker did well to save Danny Philliskirk's effort, but could do nothing about the rebound. The single goal enough to claim back-to-back wins for Fylde. It could have been even more comfortable had Walker not pulled off another fine save to keep out Jordan Williams.
Big win that for Fylde at the bottom of the Vanarama National League. Toiled all season, first under Dave Challoner, then obviously lately under Jim Bentley, but they are giving themselves a sniff, as we've just discussed. Ebbsfleet have done. Fylde on 39 points, then a jump of 2 to Maidenhead, who are clearly finding life very tricky of late 5 defeats on the spin. Then Ebbsfleet on 42, and the teams above, Wrexham, Chesterfield, obviously despite the point today, Dagenham and Redbridge, and in fact even perhaps a little higher than that, all nervously looking over their shoulders now at the teams that are chasing to get away from that bottom 4. Halifax, as we've discussed, towards the top, in the top 7, yes, but at risk of slipping into the pack, and you can see there's a sizable pack of teams that are not far off that top 7. Stockport into that group on 58 points, but all the way down to mid-table, Dover only 4 points behind, so a win and a bit off the playoff places. It is that tight, Holty. Who knows when, or even if, I suppose you'd have to say, this season will be resolved, but there is an awful lot to sort out. Yeah,
there's an awful lot to sort out, especially at the bottom. When you think that, look at that foul goal there, penalty, missed, comes back to you and you think that a massive moment for them. Yeah. And there's some big teams down there, as I said, and I don't think anyone's safe all the way up to Aldershot for me, because you know in this National League the consistency is never really there. You don't really see team going win after win after win. And I said, and obviously Halifax slipping up there, but Notts County are absolutely on fine form.
They really are. You think about, you mentioned Fylde there, 2 wins I think it is in the last 4 or 5 days, 1 in midweek, win today, penalty. Sometimes it's just those little margins. You nick a penalty, which is, on that evidence, softish.
Yes, softish.
Danny Philliskirk doesn't beat the goalie, but gets right on the rebound.
That's what you need. That's the look you're after. That's what you need when you're down the bottom and you're scrapping, you're not getting anything. You get the little look of the penalty, and you then miss it, and you kind of get the tap. And that's what you need when you're down the bottom. And big 3 points for Fowler.
4 wins on the spin for Notts County. And Neil Ardley, who was probably under quite a lot of pressure in the autumn as a manager when County weren't going so well, having come down from League Two, but they have found their way.
Yeah, they have, certainly. It's took them a while to get going. And I think everyone kind of thought they're going on, they'll blitz it, big crowds, and they'll go on the budget and stuff. And they have struggled a little bit. We found that before. We've seen with teams, it does take them a while when they come down, but they're in fine form. And as I said, if they keep doing what they're doing and creeping into the playoffs, and the team you want to avoid at the moment.